What's up, Dreamhack? I'm SecretHumorMan. I'll be running Crash Bandicoot 100%. We're going to go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. So you might already notice right off the bat that I'm playing on the Japanese version. That's because the Japanese version for 100% has some levels mixed up versus the American version. So it's actually faster to play on the Japanese version for 100%. For any percent, it's faster to play on the American version. So while Proteus was nice and available, you know, for any speedrunner out there, this game is not necessarily as widely available.
Yeah, Crash 1 can be very, very punishing, especially to newer players.
So to get 100% in a level, you have to get hit enough boxes. But if you die at any time in the level and you got hit a checkpoint, you got to restart the level getting the boxes because they respawned earlier in the level. Making it so that any death is very punishing in 100%.
Yeah, so the first chunk of these levels are pretty simple. Either we do get all the boxes and it's easy, it's 100% and we get the gem, or we don't necessarily get all the gems yet because we can't. We don't have access to all the boxes yet, and so we will revisit them later in the route and 100% them later.
Yeah, SecretHumorMan was mentioning before that the level order for Japanese is mixed up. One of the most notable changes is that Slippery Climb, which gives you the red gem that unlocks all the boxes in Road to Nowhere, is actually before Road to Nowhere, whereas in the American version it's after.
Once we collect 3 masks, we get a State of Invulnerability. We don't really abuse this too much in Crash 1 because it's actually not necessarily faster. It's harder to zigzag with the mask on, so yeah, we don't do it too often. Casual players really enjoyed it because invulnerability was like the best thing ever, but speedruns don't really use it too much. I guess, did one of you guys want to explain zigzagging?
Yeah, so zigzagging is what you see him doing, jumping and just quickly moving left and right in the air. It's the fastest method of movement. It's much faster than just simply walking forward. Like, even such that if you're a brand new runner and your zigzagging is not that good, it's still significantly faster than just walking forward.
So that was Jungle Rollers. There is a way to 100% it on the first go-through. I'm not really good at it. It requires some kind of blind box grabbing with the triple mask abuse. But I prefer to come back with the green gem and ride it up. And now we're on Great Gate.
Another small difference between the US and Japan releases you may have noticed is that when he didn't get all the boxes, it only rains 1 box on Crash's head, whereas on the American version, it rains every box that you missed. And that can very quickly add up.
Yeah, so like the guy said earlier, it really is an unforgiving game in that if I do die in a level without collecting all the boxes or without finishing while getting all the boxes, then I have to do the entire level again. So it's not so much of a big issue in the beginning. We are on some of the, you know, the early levels are very, very easy, but when we get to the end, there's a level specifically called Sunset Vista. It's about an 8-minute level, and it's pretty painful to do that level more than once. So I one-cycled it last night. We'll see if we can get lucky enough to one-cycle it again today here. Coming up next is Boulders. Boulders is the first level where we are running towards the camera and we're kind of like Indiana Jonesing it towards the end. We're able to get 100% in this level on the first go through. You'll notice on levels that I'm not able to get 100% on the first go through, they usually have like a very small colored gem that isn't visible, or when I get close to it, it disappears. That's showing that there's a colored gem out there that I need to collect before I can, you know, come back and use the colored gem to its benefit and get the rest of the boxes. So you'll see that later on when we do the second getting chased by a boulder level. So the guys mentioned zigzagging being one of the fastest ways to move Crash. The other fast way to improve Crash's movement is by spinning. Spinning actually does increase Crash Bandicoot's forward velocity for a little bit. However, if you spin too much in a row, you'll actually lose the ability to spin for a certain amount of time, depending on how many times you've spun before that instance. So I don't abuse it too much. If you watch the top runners do it, they know exactly when they're able to spin again, and they really use it to their advantage. So this next level is not up the creek, it's upstream. And upstream also does have the potential to be 100% on the first go through, but it requires the use of a sub jump with the triple mask abuse. So you'll see later on in this level, there will be a path of like little yellow gems that we don't quite have yet. And there's a box hiding underneath this bridge. Now, if you have the triple mask does break all boxes within a relatively close nearby area. You'll see our yellow gems here right now. So there's a box beneath me right now. Now, if you abuse the sub jump mechanic, that's where at the end of a spin, a Crash has about 13 frames or so to actually jump, even though he's not on any sort of platform. If you're able to get that sub jump, then you could easily grab the box with the masks. If you miss the jump, though, the timing window, then you fall in the water, and then obviously you have to do the level again. So I just prefer to take it safe, and we come back when we have the gem. So we're coming to the first boss of the game, Papu Papu.
This guy's really hard.
Yeah, one of the hardest bosses of the game for sure.
There's also another very small version difference. In the American version, he has 3 health, and in the Japanese version, he has 5. But that is not that much time loss. You can see how fast he's doing damage.
Yeah, Papu can take health again, or take damage again immediately when he stops glowing from his iframes. So he's pretty easy to beat.
Very nice.
Yeah, very, very difficult. Thank you for this round of applause. You'll also notice in the boss level, they give you a ton of masks. Like, I had double mask at the beginning of Papu Papu, because I guess, like, the Japanese were like, well, we're increasing the boss health, so we better make sure that, you know, the player has a safety net, which, I don't know, I don't think it's really necessary. We do use the mask a little bit later on for the second boss, Ripperoo. We'll abuse it, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. Another big version difference between Japan and American is that whenever you collect a mask, in the Japanese version, there are some instances where a text box shows up, and you can only break out of that text box by either jumping, pressing the X button, or spinning, which is pressing the square or circle button, which can be really annoying because it basically forces you to move Crash in order to get rid of the text box. And sometimes you don't want to move Crash, you know, you want to like stand still on a platform and not have to move or do anything. So sometimes those instances will be times where I slow down just to play it safe. Another level that we'll come back to, Rolling Stones. All right, and we're going to enter our first vehicle level, if you can call it that. Hog Wild.
Yeah, so one thing about riding the Hog is you cannot slow it down at all. It's just constantly running forward. So you mostly just have to dodge left and right while still trying to collect all the boxes. It can get really tricky towards the end.
God Villager cycles and wheel cycles, and yeah, if we miss one box, I have to Death Warp and do it again. Luckily, this one is a little bit easier than the other one. That was good. That's like the hardest part of the level. It's not even that difficult, so we should be pretty good towards the end here. Ooh, spoke too soon. Spoke too soon.
Talk trash, get thrashed, man.
Yeah, I guess so. It's all right. Not too big of a deal. Hog Wild is only about a minute long, so it's not like the end of the world to mess that up. I'd much rather screw up this level than one of the later ones.
Plus, we get to hear this absolute banger of background music again.
The Hog levels do have some pretty good music, for sure.
So I forget, these villagers are on local cycles, right? I don't think we've explained cycles yet.
Yeah, so these villagers, they don't start moving until you get close to them. So they're on what we call a proximity cycle. There are 3 different types of cycles in this game. Sorry, just making sure I focus here for this last box that I missed. Yeah, you have global cycles, which basically they're always moving as long as the game is turned on and it's not paused. So those are global cycles. Those are things like the spikes that go in and out, the doors that come in and out, certain things like that. Proximity cycles are where enemies, they don't actually start moving until you get close to them. Those are things like the villagers, the crabs on the beach, things like that. And then you actually have something that's a specific level cycle, which means it actually doesn't start moving until you enter the level. I can only think of one example where that happens, and it's a very long moving platform at the end of Castle Machinery, which is one of the last levels of the game. But yeah, those are like the 3 types of cycles. I think the most annoying thing is that, like, because global cycles exist, like if you screw up something in a earlier level, you might be off a cycle later on in the game, which is just kind of like, I don't know why the developers would plan it that way, but. So like right now, I'm really familiar like with the cycles of like the fire coming on and off. But if I were to like misstep somewhere, then I would be off my most familiar fire cycle, and I might accidentally have to like wait an extra round or something. Yeah. Like right there, I usually jump off the villager onto the ramp, but it looks like I might not have made it, so I played it safe. This is Native Fortress. This is arguably one of the harder levels of the earlier sets of levels, because there's a lot of boxes, there's a lot of ways for you to die, and there's a lot of cycles you have to pay attention to. Luckily, it doesn't matter if we die this time around, because we're not able to 100% it anyways. And here, I'm just going to go into the background and avoid a lot of these obstacles. There we go.
Very nice. Yeah, Native Fortress is one of the bigger difficulty spikes in the game.
Just grabbing some extra lives for safety. And we're out. So that's the end of the first island. There are 3 islands in Crash, so we're starting the second island before we move on to the third and final island. So this is Up the Creek, and Up the Creek does have the possibility to be 100%ed on the first go through, so we'll be doing that now. The 100% part of this level, not very difficult, very easy to successfully do on your first time through, even as a casual player. We're going to get to levels later, though, that are very inconspicuously difficult for casual players, where we're just like, how was a casual player ever supposed to know that this existed? We'll get there when we get to Road to Nowhere, sometime after the second boss.
You'll notice that he also spins away any of the character faces that aren't crashes. If you collect 3 of the same kind of face, you'll get taken away to a bonus area where you can just break boxes, get a bunch of lives, and save the game. But that doesn't really count towards 100%, and it's just a big waste of time.
Ooh, jumped a little early on the lily pad, so we're going back. Yeah, like Emo said, the 3 character faces, they just allow you to save the game, which at the end of the day, we don't really care about. And none of the boxes in the bonuses count as 100%, so we don't worry about that either. We do, however, have to collect 3 Cortex faces in 2 specific levels later in the run in order to get 2 keys. And the keys actually open up 2 locked levels that we need for 100% completion of this game. So we'll be getting to those a little bit later. But you'll notice I spin away Tana because it's really easy to collect the 3 Tana faces in this level, and it's just a waste of time to go to those bonuses.
I'll never forget when Rico was running this for our marathon, and there was a Sunshine runner who game overed about an hour and a half into his run, and he wasn't using a memory card, so he had to start the run all over, lost a truckload of time. And so Rico was like, you know what, I'm gonna be safe, I'm gonna save. And his game crashes right as he steps on the save portal, and he has to start all over.
Yeah, I will say, I'll say this hopefully not because it'll jinx my run, but I have never crashed on the emulator. Usually the crash games are very prone to crashing, and I have never done it on the emulator. I don't know if it's because the emulator doesn't necessarily need to load as much as, you know, most runners run on the PS2 version. So let's see, how am I gonna do this now? We're gonna wait for the lily pad, and I guess we're gonna jump towards the bottom here.
Very nice.
What was I saying? Yeah, the crash games are just very prone to crashing. So
It's called Crash.
yeah, it is called Crash for a reason. So it's really nice that you know, you do have the option to save if you need it, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you crash on the way to saving your game from crashing. All right, and we ride this leaf to the exit, and we're done with Up the Creek. Cool. We are now 4% of the way through. All right, so we're coming up to the second boss. This is Ripperoo. And Ripperoo, in order to damage him, you have to explode these TNT boxes while he's near and he's like jumping around. However, we have 2 extra masks, so we're really only going to need to wait and press 1 TNT barrel. So I'll press that now. And then all I have to do is spin the other 2. There's 1. Come over here. And there you go, Ripperoo is defeated.
So you may remember when the Insane Trilogy released in 2017-ish?
Yeah, that might be right.
It got a lot of Dark Souls comparisons. And much like Dark Souls, the bosses are very trivial in this game once you kind of learn how they work, and it's just getting there that's the hard part. The bosses in this game are very easy.
All right, so we've defeated the second boss. We're now on to the Lost City. The Lost City starts to begin the levels that are about 2 to 3 minutes long. So we're getting to the part now where if we die within a level, we do have quite a bit of time to make up. So I'm gonna be playing these a little bit safer. But that being said, usually we'll be pretty good for a lot of these. Lost City hasn't given me too many issues recently, nor has the next level, Temple Ruins, so. these bats are kind of annoying because even if you spin them all, they just respawn. So you just kind of have to wait for them sometimes. Play it safe here. So like, yes, I'm hitting these checkpoints and everything is like great, but again, if you die within a level, all the boxes respawn, even the ones before you hit a checkpoint. So we have to restart the level. They changed this, luckily, in Crash 2 and Crash 3. They decided that they wouldn't deal with that. In Crash 2, they have a box counter for you, so it tells you, how many boxes you're currently at. And in Crash 3, it actually tells you how many boxes there are in the level, as well as how many you're currently at. So the Crash developers, they learned as they went along. So we're on the top level here now for Lost City. I just got to get to the end here. That's all the way to the left. Again, I'm just playing it safe, waiting for cycles. Some of the top runners actually will jump in between these platforms as they're coming out, which is just nutty to me. Okay. Wait for this iguana, rhine, horned lizard thing. Pop 2 more boxes and done with Lost City. %5 done.
We're almost there.
22 minutes in, 5%.
Like Emo said, we just got the red gem from Lost City. You normally would get that gem from a different level in the NA version. So after we do Temple Ruins, this level coming up, we'll do Road to Nowhere, and we'll actually be able to do Road to Nowhere completely because we have that red gem. So Temple Ruins is going to be the first level where I really abuse your spinning hitbox. Crash actually is invulnerable for the first part of his spin. So I'll use it to go through a couple of these spiked gates and save some cycles. And this is going to be the first level of what I said earlier of just things that I don't know how a casual player would know existed. Unless they watched, like a walkthrough of the game. So there you go, I just spun through those spikes to not take damage. Or the mask.
It's part of the ploy to sell strategy guides, man.
I guess so.
Remember the whole Castlevania 2
I
thing
mean, I
with
guess
Nintendo Power?
I guess it makes sense. So, you do a little walk over here, and wow, look at all these boxes.
I guess you should walk off all the ledges.
Yeah.
This game gives you so many lives, may as well.
This game does give you a lot of lives. Lives are not the issue in this speedrun. We will have plenty of lives.
It's actually kind of funny for the any % category. You end up, in order, like SecretHumorMan said, for any %, the NA version is faster, and you can skip the cutscene of all the boxes raining on Crash by dying at one point in the level. You get so many lives in this game just for free that you can die in just about every level, and you'll still have like 30 some odd lives left over at the end.
Yeah. I'm very used to beating 100% runs with 99 lives, so. That was nice. We even skipped the cycles of the crushers there at the end, so that was good.
That was really nice.
Yeah. So my PB in this game is 136. The world record for this game actually is a 103 when they implement all the actual doing the levels. Once they get there on the first try, all the skips There's a very, very difficult skip on the third island that a lot of runners do as well, called Cortex Power in one go. That could be a little tricky, but yeah. If you're like impressed at all by watching this speedrun, you should definitely check out the Crash Bandicoot game directory on Twitch and watch some of the actual like top runners run this game. So, Emo, is this level bringing back nightmares for you?
Oh my goodness.
This level is Road to Nowhere. It's like consistently known as like one of the most casually punishing levels.
Yeah, I was learning any percent in this game for a while, and I don't have the game on PS1, so I was doing it on emulator, and I made the mistake of using a 360 controller, and you have to move Crash using the D-pad, and the 360 D-pad is garbage, to say the least. It is an absolute trash can. So I was having a very bad time with the really precise platforming in this level, and it was, SHM was in call with me, I was just losing it.
Yeah, it's just always been like, I remember this level even as a kid, just like really, really punishing level, because sometimes you have to do big jumps, sometimes you have to do little jumps, and you know, if you miss time one at all, then you know, you die, and you know, if you're actually trying to 100% the game, you gotta go all the way back to the start. So it can just be very, very annoying. Luckily, we are abusing zigzag in some instances to actually cross a gap that we normally wouldn't be able to jump over. Like for instance, that one you're supposed to bounce on the turtle, but you can actually just like do a small little zigzag and make it over anyways. And again, here's something that I don't know how a casual player knows, is just jumping into the abyss. And wow, platforms spawned for us, luckily.
YOLO.
Yeah. To be fair, this game came out before YOLO was a thing, so I don't really think that's the excuse. But we 100%ed Road to Nowhere, unlike I did right before we started this run, so I'm happy about that. 7%. Okay, now we move on to another pretty easy level. Boulder Dash, and I don't know why I'm spinning these boxes because I can't 100% the level anyways. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot! We've got some great runs coming up tomorrow too from my members on the couch. Be sure you tune in for those as well. We've got Emo running Donkey Kong 64 any percent, and my prodigy Captain Cole will be running Duck Dodgers for the N64.
Starring Daffy Duck.
Starring Daffy Duck, a game that I originally had world record in, but Cole has since sniped me. He's put a lot of time and work into the game, so I'm really excited to see both of those runs showcased tomorrow.
And of course, you can go back and watch the VVV speedrun done by our lovely hiding hopefulness over here.
Yeah, is he hiding behind me on cam?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Just like in his run.
Yeah, just like in his run, exactly. Again, just spinning for fun, because spinning is faster. So you see there, right before it disappeared, was the pink gem. We actually have to ride that pink gem down into that abyss in order to get more boxes later on. So there's just no way to get down there. If you try to fall down there with Crash, you'll just hit the death plane. So that area doesn't really exist until the gem exists. All right. First, really, really tough level, in my opinion. Slippery climb. This level is a good like 3.5 minutes long, and it's really painful to have to do over.
There's some tricky moving platforms you gotta go on. And it, like he said, if you fall, you gotta restart this entire level.
There's only 2 parts of this level that really scare me. This is one of them. We have to jump into this window and then basically just time our jump to come out. Whew. Luckily, we stayed on.
That was a little close.
Yeah, we have to do that again later on, and I'm not looking forward to it. Almost jumped on that bird a little too late. We were able to catch him as he was rising up. Gotta take these big, deep breaths after every little movement. If you are out there in the audience and you think like, oh, this speedrun is so cool, like I would highly implore you to look up Crash speedrunning, but I would also highly implore you to not run this game. Because this game has only given me like massive anxiety and like disappointment in my life. I'm sure many of the top Crash runners can also attest.
But it looks great when it's done well.
It does look great. It is a great run at a top level. Play Crash 2 or Crash 3. That way, when you die, there's just a little bit of frustration. There isn't like, oh, I have to do the entire like 5 minutes over again that I just did.
The Crash community does seem extremely tight-knit, though. The Crash 3 speedrun, it's kind of, from what I can tell, it's kind of polarizing. People love it or hate it. And it's been always kind of a community effort to get it's 106%?
It's 105.
105.
Yeah.
Under 2 hours. And Burgerland's finally got it, and just the entire community checked out of that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, our work here is done.
All right, here's the other window. Okay. Thank God, we should be good to go now. This is the last bird hopping section. I'm just gonna wait for this bird to go down. Okay.
Very nice.
Woo! That's good. That makes me really happy because now we're like smooth sailing. Basically, we've got a couple like harder levels, quote unquote, but we're basically smooth sailing until Sunset Vista now. So we're gonna face the third really, really difficult boss, like we were saying earlier. Just the bosses in this game are so hard, so very difficult. We've got Koala Kong. Watch me dodge his only attack.
It's a glorified QuickTime event.
The only thing we have to make sure is you just can't spin the rock back at him when the mine carts are coming. So that's it. There have been a lot of really famous Crash 1 clips have actually come from Koala Kong. There are like weird things that can happen in this fight. Like one of the mine carts can just be like chilling in the back off the tracks. We've seen mine carts rise off the tracks before. Like, don't tell me how they happen. I've seen them happen. All right, and we're gonna wait, and we're gonna wait, and now we spin. Ooh. And again, like, the game gives us 2 masks, like we were ever gonna get hurt. All right. So Koala Kong ends the second island, and now we move on to the third and final island. Although we are really not even halfway done with the run yet. It's just beginning, basically, because don't forget all the levels that were basically on the first island, we have to come back and do them again 100%. So Here's another level where I don't know how a casual player was just supposed to know this. But we jump over these, and oh my god, I fell down the toxic pipe, and wow, there's platforms down here with boxes.
That was completely obvious.
Like I said, man, they give you so many lives. You might as well just throw yourself off every single ledge and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Naughty Dog. So this is Heavy Machinery. Pretty fun level. I enjoy this level a lot. Play it safe here because I know there's this thing. Oh, oh,
my goodness.
Oh, 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 oh. Okay. We'll go back and make sure we get double masks. I was like, I knew there was two. Forgot about the third. That's all right. Luckily, that was very early in that level, so I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, the spike guys are really weird. It looks like you can jump on them because they only have spikes on their sides,
Nope.
but they just kill you.
Yep. Can't do anything to them. You just gotta let them on their way. Okay, let's get this second mask instead of being confident that we don't need it.
How dare you try to go fast?
I know. These next couple levels are actually some of my favorite in the run. You will do Generator Room here in a bit, which is really fun, even though it's very dark and dangerous. And then Toxic Waste is right after, and Toxic Waste is basically a straight line level, like running away from the camera, but there's a lot of like really fun movement and platforming and stuff to do there. So, all right, we'll jump over him, jump over him. See, I was just behind the cycles.
You wanted to play it safe earlier, you ended up playing yourself.
Yep. So actually, to load the next little bit of areas on each of those lifts, all you have to do is touch the lift. So I could, if I wanted to, I could touch the lift and then fall down like I am here. All right, those are all dead. Sometimes that can be a little scary though, especially if you don't necessarily know the direction of where the next area is. Big zigzag over here. So like some runners, they'll fall off the front of this and just go down to the bottom, but that tends to be scary for me, so I don't do it. Concept. All right, done with heavy machinery. 10% of the way through. Or is it 9? No, it's 9. No, it's 10.
It is 10.
Only
can't
90 more
count.
to go.
All right, so the next level is Cortex Power. This level, it is possible to do in one go. It does require some insane jumps and spins, so we don't do it.
Some insane jumps.
Some insane jumps, yeah. We can get triple mask here just to not have to worry about obstacles, since I saved the double mask from the last level. Whew. That was actually really scary. Just zigzagging there to make sure I get fully well over the red burning pipes, because I don't want to do Cortex again. All right, so now we come up to Generator Room. And Generator Room, very dark, very dusty.
There's a lot of really cool platforming in this level.
Yeah. I was just making sure those actually all popped. Try to spin through the Tana and just make the cycle, but I needed to spin one more time in the air.
They kind of tease you with jumping down to the platforms there.
Yeah. All right, got one last little ride here before we go into Toxic Waste.
Yeah, it's nice that these pipes are cold so that you can just wait until it starts pushing Crash to be able to jump over them.
Yeah, I do appreciate that about the blue pipes. Makes that part really easy. The one thing that I think is really difficult in this game to get used to is when you do take damage as Crash, if it doesn't immediately kill you because you have a mask, the game will actually push you up like a certain amount of height and it will propel your forward momentum. So if you're not like necessarily ready to take damage, or if you didn't think you were going to take damage, your movement might be completely turned off because of the way that you got hit or you actually did take damage. So this is Toxic Waste. The only obstacles in this game that can hurt Crash are, well, besides the ground, are these barrels that come at him. So these like big, and what are they called? Poteros in this game, they're called. These guys are the ones throwing the barrels, but it's really easy to just kind of like zigzag past them.
Shout out to Donkey Kong.
Yeah. So here's the first instance of the barrels that bounce. It can be a little more difficult to dodge, but still not the end of the world. I actually am going to abuse triple mask here because it makes the getting the rest of these TNT boxes really easy. All right. Good. Toxic waste is done. And now we move on to our fourth boss, Pinstripe, which is another, like we said, very, very difficult boss. One of the hardest. Pinstripe Totoro. So he has a machine gun, and as long as we're behind these bulletproof recliners, he can't hit us. And we can also just spin him multiple times. Can't do it any more than that, though. And he runs out of ammo. We come back over here. So you can see Cortex on the wall there to your right. For anybody who is familiar with this game as a kid, Cortex is the final boss, but in 100%, believe it or not, we don't defeat the final boss. The final boss is actually after the game would register you as being 100% completed, so we're not going to be doing the Cortex fight in this run, unfortunately. But also, fortunately, because the run kind of isn't fun. All right, here we go again. This is the high road. And, oh my gosh, look at this. Wait, what? Just 4 boxes at the beginning that you just have to know about. So this level is shorter than Road to Nowhere, but it is a lot more difficult because for some of these jumps, we will need to use the turtles in order to cross them. And the turtles can just be super finicky sometimes. So I need this one. Don't need this one. Don't need this one. I like having this one, even though he's not required. All right, good.
Nice first try.
Yeah, it's a good one to get first try for sure. Okay, and now we've come to the mother lode. We have Sunset Vista. Like we said earlier, 8-minute level, pretty difficult, a lot of cycles you have to pay attention to. If you die, you're going all the way back. The other thing we have to pay attention to in this level is our Cortex masks. We have to get 3 Cortex masks in order to go to the secret bonus level that gives us a key. So if at any point I A, die in that bonus, B, die in this level, or C, miss a box, we're going to be doing Sunset all over again. So fingers crossed, audience. And there's just a lot of instances where I'm going to be quiet and play stuff safe. The top runners like to do these 2 at a time. It's too much for my little brain.
There are actually some instances in this level, not specifically here, but where these crushers can push you out of bounds, and then you can jump upwards and just walk over the level. But unfortunately, because this is 100% and you need all the boxes, you can't do that in this category.
Yeah, the only reason we would ever be able to do that in this category is if you were to get all the boxes in this level but missed the key. That would be the fastest way to get back up to the top. Well, I say the fastest. It actually doesn't save any time. It just saves you from the stress of having to deal with avoiding all the obstacles. But it is cool. It does look very cool when they do it in any percent runs. One of my favorite tricks in the game for sure. I will say the hardest part of this level is around the second Cortex token, so we're not quite there yet. All right, wasn't fast enough there. So we have to actually bait this guy over here, jump on his head and spin the boxes, and I almost missed, which means that we would have had no way to spawn these boxes, which means we would have had to do it again. That's the first Cortex token. We're going to be on a really crap cycle pretty soon.
Yeah.
Fire and bats. It's okay, I'll wait here for the bats to pass again.
Some of these cycles can get really stupid, just with multiple different things completely independent of each other.
Okay. That's easily, in my opinion, the hardest part of the level, so I'm glad we got past it. I'm gonna wait one more. Ooh, that was very scary. Thank God. All right, so we're going into the Cortex bonus here. This is the third one. Game decided to be a little nice to me today. All right, so I also have to be very careful in this one. All right, good. All right, we got the key, but we're not out of the woods yet.
Still more level to go.
We got the key, now we got to finish. All right. Come over here. And luckily, this is kind of the final climbing section, and then once we get to the top level here, it's pretty much easy money. These platforms can be a little dicey, but nothing that's too terrible.
Kind of an awkward cycle there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Sunset Vista 1 cycle. Let's get a round of applause,
Nice job,
please.
dude.
Holy cow.
That level's insane.
As long as that level went well, I do not care about the rest. I mean, like, you know, we're going to pay attention, but whew, that level out of the way is like a huge relief. We're up to 18% too.
Almost there.
Sure, everybody's wondering how the hell we're going to do 100%.
You're already halfway through your estimate, man.
I know.
Pick it up.
I know. All right, so this is Lights Out. I don't know if one of you guys wants to explain the masks in here.
Yeah, so the masks are much different in this level. The level's completely pitch black unless you hit a box that has a mask, and then he lights up the area for you. And he also protects you from damage, much like the regular mask, but he will go away, leaving the level dark if you take damage. So unless you just completely know the layout of the level and know the cycles of all these moving platforms, taking damage is pretty much instant death.
This is another level that we can't do all the way through on the first, so it doesn't really matter if we die this time around, but it will later on.
Ideally, we still don't die.
Absolutely. Dying just wastes time. These guillotines we don't really have to worry about because, again, you could just... All right, done with Lights Out. Moving on to the second level where we get our key, Jaws of Darkness. Luckily, this level is not as hard as Sunset. The Cortex tokens are very much easier to get, so we won't have too much of an issue here. And I guess the other exciting thing is we're getting close to the end of the third island, which means we're going to start our backtracking phase of the run. So we'll be going back to levels that we've already seen before, and you'll be able to see just how the access of what the gems give us, the colored gems. First. I'm just going to go ahead and wait this one out. I want to keep third mask for the final platform because there's a ton of boxes. All right. So again, I mean, you could see how many boxes that we wouldn't have been able to collect until we got the colored gem, so. All right. We're gonna be very careful when we get close up here because there's gonna be a snake. We wanna make sure we jump on the snake instead of spinning it. If you spin the snake, there's a very big possibility that he jumps into these boxes and then you're not able to get this Cortex mask. Because it'll just go away. And then, oh my God! Ha 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 ha, just kidding. Walking over here, which again, Naughty Dog, tell me, how did you expect people to know that, huh? All right. Whew. Good. Got my key. We're on the way out. Still got to collect the rest of the boxes in Jaws of Darkness, and then we'll be moving on.
So what's the lore behind Cortex himself giving you the keys? Like, why would he do that?
Yeah, that's another great question that, you know, doesn't really get answered in our story. You can also do, there's bonuses with Brio, who's supposed to be like Cortex's like right-hand man, and he gives you stuff too. It's just, I don't know. Crash 1 is just a story.
It is a video game.
It's not really a good story. All right, I messed up the syncing of the cycles there, so I wanted to wait just to be safe. All right, good. Jaws is done. We only have a few more levels, and then we'll be making our way through the backtrack. As you can see, we do more and more and more of the gem counts. So we move on to Castle Machinery. A very easy level until we get to the end. And when we get to the end, we'll do what's called the box bridge. And that can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, you can see at the very start he could have taken the green gem, but unfortunately that doesn't do us any good 100% because that basically takes you straight to the end.
Yeah.
Nice for any percent. You do actually grab that gem, but...
The other thing that's nice that's up there is like 30 extra lives.
Yeah.
All right, we'll grab a mask to play it safe. I do really like this level. The box bridge at the end is a little nerve-wracking, but the rest of this level is actually pretty fun. You just have to jump off these lifts before they come too high because they'll burn you on the pipes above them, so. And even jumping into the foreground here. Jumping down. Nothing above us there, so we won't bother with it. Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Whew!
Nice.
Made it work. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're gonna play it a little safe now because I don't have a mask. This platform right here is the one that's the level cycle we were talking about earlier. This starts moving as soon as you enter the level. All right, good.
Nice job.
Sweet. Okay, so we have to do Brio. He's the last boss we'll fight in this run, and then we'll do the lab. The lab is the last actual new level that we'll do. Actually, I lied. We have the lab, and then we do have to come back for the levels that we've unlocked with the keys, but that'll be part of the backtracking process. We'll do Fumbling in the Dark and Whole Hog. So here's Embryo. Embryo's kind of another pretty meme boss fight. He's got a lot of health. So he throws this. We spin the blobs. We avoid the pink. And then he realizes, oh, I'm going to combine the pink and the green to become the Incredible Hulk.
Big Chungus.
Big Chungus. And then we just make sure we jump off the top of these to hit him on the head. And there's Embryo.
Looks like a Battletoad almost.
Yeah, that's a good way to compare him. All right, so we're going to the lab. The lab has a lot of interesting door cycles and stuff like that from these exclamation blocks. Oh, I'll wait for this again. So those electric gates, they always shoot in threes, so sometimes you'll see me just wait to make sure that they're done. It is possible to jump around those scientists, but I don't like wasting my mask this early, so I just choose not to do it.
The scientists drove me insane when I played through this level.
Spinning that scientist forward like that puts him forward in the room, so he blows up all the TNT boxes that would normally be here. This platform likes to just come in and out, so I played safe. Just waiting for those TNT barrels to, or the boxes to explode before we actually finish. Okay, so that is it. That's the rest of those levels. So now we're gonna start our backtrack. And we're going to backtrack with our 2 light levels back to back, because now we have the final gem to do Lights Out. And Lights Out will lead into Fumbling in the Dark. Fumbling in the Dark is probably, in my opinion, the hardest level in the game. It's relatively short compared to Sunset, but it is just very unforgiving with cycles. If you lose your mask, it's very hard to see. There's just like a lot of things you have to worry about. So we're going to hope for a Fumbling 1 cycle as well. And then after we do Fumbling, really the game is just kind of go back, get everything, and we're done. So not too many difficult levels left, luckily. Oops. You might have noticed I'm trying to spin these rats diagonally because I don't want them to hit any mask boxes in my near future. I want to keep my mask for the full duration. All right, and we'll take this gem all the way up. There's Cortex again, chilling. and that's it. So like normally in Lights Out, you would have like a lot more platforming to do, but that's the end of the level there with just those 3 boxes up top.
Gotta love secret exits.
Yeah. Again, just, you know, can't do it unless you knew that it was there to begin with. And this gem actually lets us do Boulder Dash. But Boulder Dash will be the last level we do before ending in the Great Hall. All right, so now we have fumbling. I'm gonna go full focus mode. Okay, come on. Just chill. Okay, spider disappears. Didn't know that. All right. Whew. Nice.
That was
That was a Monka S, wasn't it?
that's absolutely terrifying.
Oh my God. Okay, so I actually saved it there by getting a sub jump, believe it or not. I fell off the platform, and as I was falling off, I had enough frames to press X, and I did, luckily, to get me back on the platform, and I survived. So thank God for that. All right, so now we're going to go backwards here. Back to Cortex Power.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, I think those 2 deaths at the start were actually your first 2 unintentional deaths.
Yeah, correct.
Real solid run so far.
Yeah, you can do a donation right now, dude.
We have a $5 donation from Candid Kamzy. Metal Gear Solid 2 in Japanese for the win. With just a heads up, we are currently having a bid war between if you want Metal Gear Solid 2 in Japanese or English, and it's going to be full voice acted that way if you thought it was just text. So just a heads up. Thank you for that donation.
This level is really weird to 100%. There's a lot of just like moving around, backtracking, make sure you got everything. So now I'm gonna go back this way. I'm gonna remember the order I do this. Okay, and now I gotta go back here. Cortex power as well. Pretty nice.
So when you talk about Cortex power in one go, and you mentioned crazy jumps, are they like sub jumps across where the gems take you?
So there is there's a crazy, like, you stick yourself in the wall and you can constantly kind of like, you know when the crushers push you out in Sunset Vista?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing where you spin jump, spin jump, spin jump, spin jump, and you get all the way up there. And then you actually have to blindly like jump to that platform and kind of like guess where you would be on the other side. The problem is that at the end of that cycle, you saw I had to take the blue gem back, right?
Right.
So you have to just blindly jump at the wall and hope that you get, I can't remember what they call it. They might call it a wall jump, but basically you have to hope that you get wedged enough in there to make a frame or so perfect jump back onto the ledge.
Oh, okay.
So like, it's very, very difficult. Like a lot of people, you know, a lot of the top runners, they'll just do runs and then they'll keep going with them even if they don't make those tricks because they don't expect to get them every time. But those are very, very tricky jumps. So this is whole hog.
Really?
Yeah, really. I guess I can just say it. Start and select. It's okay. Whole hog is, again, not too difficult. Just, again, missing one of the boxes. But we're pretty good on time. Yeah.
We have a $10 donation from DD Gaming. No way I'm gonna miss. No way I'm gonna miss out watching Metal Gear Solid 2 with the sweet voice on David Hayter.
Okay. I've never jumped over the drum before. Interesting. We're up to what, 4 unintentional now?
Yeah.
It's funny, this is the last, I mean, this is the last level before it's a run to the end, basically. So, just one more obstacle in the way.
Did you hit that one?
Yeah, I don't know if you got that.
Well,
Died anyway.
there you go. Game decided it wasn't good enough. There we go.
There we go.
All right, so now we're
First
done with
try.
whole hog. Yeah, first try.
First try.
We're done with whole hog. We're gonna go all the way back to the beginning of the game and start our like true backtracking. We've got jungle rollers, we've got Great Gate, upstream, Rolling Stones, Native Fortress, and Boulder Dash, and then we'll make our way to the Great Hall. So, and we're at 29%. somehow we're going to get 100% within the next, 30 minutes. All right, jungle rollers. Again, this is nice, familiar territory.
Comfy, cozy second level of the game
After all the hard ones. Yeah. Go ahead and grab a second mask. So here, this green gem will take us up. You can see the 3 boxes that we normally could still get, but again, I just struggle with the blind movement, so I get them later. Okay. 5 more levels. Gems are outrageous.
Can't believe the last 5 levels make up 70% of the game.
Yeah, it's like, could have just done all these at the beginning. Could have gotten 100%, right? Great gate, again. We've been talking earlier about just things that we don't know how casual players know. But we'll get to the part in Great Gate that I really have no clue how anybody was supposed to ever know was there. Yeah.
Awesome. We have a $50 donation from Didi. Here's a bit more because I really want to save the frames. Also, there's way too many Pokemon on that couch for a Crash Bandicoot run. SecretHumorMan better make sure we don't have to add a Slowpoke on top of it.
Whoa, them's fighting words.
Man, I had that joke ready.
And then we have a $10 donation from Ace Gamer Sam. I want to make a shout out to SecretHumorMan. He's always been an inspiration to me since I started speedrunning. Can't wait to race you at Duck Dodgers. Keep up the great work, everyone.
Hell yeah. Thanks for the donation, Sam. It's funny, it's really funny that Sam says that I'm his inspiration because, yeah, that was a little painful there. We can get an ooh in the audience. It's really funny that Sam says that he was my inspiration when I'm the one who saw Sam running Duck Dodgers. Well, he wasn't running it. Sam does this, like, he's trying to play all the N64 games, and he was running Duck Dodgers. I had no idea it was even a thing. And I was like, what is this game? And he was like, oh, I think this game could be like a pretty good speed run. And like immediately after I saw him do it, I bought it off eBay. And I was routing it with Cole and another one of our friends, Brad. And I ended up improving the world record by like 5 minutes. Cole's done it now by 8 minutes, which is really cool. So thanks again, Sam. It's really all on you, bud.
Duck Dodgers starring Daffy Duck tomorrow, 11 a.m. Captain Cole. Right here.
Man, dying at the end of that was so annoying.
Yeah, it's kind of sketchy too. Wasn't the spike on its way up?
Well, the spike can hurt you regardless.
Right.
But the turtle hitboxes in this game are just so bad.
Yeah, there you saw an instance of Crash being invulnerable during the first few frames of his spin.
All right, so we use the gems to jump over the fake ending, if you will. Is it behind this one? I don't think it is. I think it's behind the other ones. If it was behind that one, then I'll have to redo the level over again. No, it's behind this one for sure. So back behind here is a nice little path, which, yes, the game does show you, but there's also 2 boxes back here that you can't see. Yeah. So it's really just like the game, I guess, forcing exploration, if you will. Oops. Do a little bounce first. Good. I'm gonna put you on the couch, Didi. Get out here. Telling me I'm gonna need the slow poke.
Shots fired, man. I don't know, man. You know, 18 minutes left.
I'm fine.
31%.
Yeah, 31% in 18 minutes, yeah. It's gonna be really tricky. All right, upstream. Go backwards here. No!
Delicious.
The fish went over and I thought I was safe, and then I was like, oh wait, gotta wait the cycle. I guess it only really makes sense, right? We did the hard levels on the first try, now I have to screw up all the easy levels, right? It only makes sense.
Maybe they were secretly hard the entire time?
Possibly.
That's a very humorous joke, man.
Oh my god. That's enough of that. All right. This first jump onto the gym is always a little sketch.
Gotta love having to backtrack here just from one box.
Yeah. Again, you know, that's why a lot of the guys now, they choose to try to do that sub jump, and it's the 5th level in. So if you fail the sub jump, you could just reset your run. You know, I feel like for a marathon run, I had thought about learning it just for the fact that it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier than some of the other skips, but I ended up not. All right, good. We've got 3 more levels and the Great Hall, so it looks like we won't PB, but we definitely should come in under estimate, so we'll be okay. I did not plan on PBing today, so it's just fine with me. Too many silly deaths. Skip over Papu Papu. Oh, come on. Held back by the height of the level, I guess. I didn't even know there was a ceiling there. Never liked that jump to the gym.
It's a bummer that it doesn't let you just fall down even if you have the gem.
Yeah, that would be nice. If you don't touch the gem, like, it actually still registers the death point.
Right.
Yeah, making sure we got all those. Who's clapping back there? Thanks. Two more levels and the Great Hall. We're really cutting it close. Only at 34%. Whatever will we do? All right, Native Fortress. Dose. We'll abuse triple mask here again. So I can actually take this shortcut here if I hit this box on the way up. There we go. Because I don't really want to play with all these spikes and stuff. So if you guys thought that you had seen like a secret gem path, wait till you see the one in this level. So we're gonna go up, and we're gonna go up, and we're gonna go up. And by the way, the death plane is directly below us. So we're gonna play it super safe coming down. All right, good. All right, good. All right, we're at 35%. One more level to go. Boulder Dash. And then we'll go to the Great Hall and we'll finish it up. We'll finish it up at 35%. It's nice we had a mask there. We didn't have to wait for the, we didn't have to wait to like drop down on the TNT. I was just able to spin through it. Okay, we're gonna wait for the boulder to go so we don't run into it on our way down.
There's a cool little aesthetic they've got here.
All right, that should be it. I'm hoping. It is. That is 26 gems, 2 keys, which gives us, as soon as we're done spinning, we go from 35% all the way to 100%. All right, so now we're going to be making our way over to the Great Hall. And time is going to end as soon as I lose control of Crash. I will let you know when that happens. And yeah, what can I say? The NoReset guys told me that I was doing a run 2 days ago. I practiced as much as I could for this, and here we are, coming in under estimate.
We take those.
We take those. Just gotta bounce our way through here with all the gems that we've collected. Believe it or not, this is the quote-unquote secret ending of the game. It's not even that big of a deal. You just ride away with your girlfriend forever and ever. Time is coming up. Time. All right. So yeah, that was Crash Bandicoot 100%. An anxiety-filled roller coaster. Hope you enjoyed it. I want to give a quick shout-outs to Tet, White Paws, and the rest of the Crash community for not feeling like I was a complete embarrassment to run this game. And shout-outs to my couch for being here, as well as other friends who are here. And yeah, stick around. We got other great runs coming up. We got 2 great runs tomorrow as well. In the morning, Donkey Kong, Duck Dodgers. It's going to be great. And yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
All right, well, first of all, thank you, SecretHumorMan, for covering for last-minute cancellations. That's thank you so much for being a backup run.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Doing this and coming under estimate. I mean, yes, it was a roller coaster of emotion, but in the end, you prevailed.
That's right, as we always do.
As we always do. We got a couple donations in, actually.
Hell yeah, let's hear them.
I might reread some of them because I wasn't here the whole time, but let's go ahead. So if I say $5 Candid Camzy, does that ring a bell?
That's one we've heard.
That's one you've heard?
Yep.
Then 2 from DD Gaming. Did you hear that one?
Yep.
And then Ace Gamer Sam.
Yep.
See, I was just testing. See,
There you go. It's perfect.
See, the runner was listening to the donation, guys. It matters.
I really was. It did
There-
matter.
there we go.
Sam, you gave me the courage to push through to the end. Thank you, my man.
There you go. Sam is a little ray of sunshine.
Yes,
back
he
in
is.
Montreal. So, well, coming up next, we have even more insanity for you guys. And
Insanity.
speaking of insanity, yeah, insanity, as it were, we have Quickie World 2, which is a Super Mario ROM hack by Electronic Logic, who's also going to do Invictus tomorrow. And because, you know, if you've got to choose between 2 Kaizo runs in a single marathon, why not both, right?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Sounds like a perfectly
party.
Yeah.
sane, you know, course of action.
Can't go wrong with those SMW ROM hacks.
There you go.
They're always entertaining. They appeal to the old boys, and they're great. I love them.
All right, well, we're going to go to a quick transition,
Yeah.
and we'll be right back with yet another Super Mario World ROM hack, Quickie World 2. Stay tuned.